Hi, my name is Stephen Tornero, and I'm an artist and an art teacher in Canton, Ohio, here representing the Canton Museum of Art's Project Bloom. Today I'm going to use some of this roving to create a flower that has lots of different colors and textures and show you how you can do it at home. If you don't have access to roving or fleece at your house, you can always just start by using pieces of fabric that you find around. But I thought I would show you this process because I think it's really interesting, and I do it at school with my students. First of all, you're going to need some fleece. This is fleece that I dyed on my own. And as you can see, we have lots of different colors. I dye these by myself with this commercial dye that I get, and I'll show it to you up close in the camera. It's like this powder that's kind of sparkly. And I also use citric acid to do it. So citric acid is like orange juice. All of the dye soaks up into the wool and it goes into the wool fibers. This is a gallon size bag, but you can make a smaller piece if you want to. It just depends. You do have to use a bag that has a zipper on it though, because you need to make sure that all the things that we put in the bag stay in the bag until it's time to take them out. Soap. This is my soap that I use for fiber stuff, but you can use any kind of soap that you want to. The last thing that I'm doing is I'm making some boiling water in my pot right here. You can use just the hottest water out of your sink will do the trick when you're making your felt today. So I'm going to pick that the yellow is going to go down first. So this is the tricky part. You have to align your fleece on your plastic bag. Don't let it go outside the plastic bag. And make sure that you have fibers that go this way, fibers that go this way, fibers that go this way. And we need to make at least 3 layers for them to all stick together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fingers on top and I'm going to pull. And I'm going to have a little piece like that. I'm going to keep doing that down the row until I have a nice big square. And it doesn't matter if they overlap. Now, what I don't want, and I'm already seeing it happen, is I don't want this big guy right here. That's too thick. So I can pull some things off of it this way. And I can go over here and I can put it different places. So this time I went horizontally. I'm going to flip the bag around and I'm going to do another color. Now, once you have one whole layer for the base, the other colors, you don't have to layer them as evenly. And then I can alternate with the pink one. If you don't like laying it down with your fingers and pulling it, you can always pull like this. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to have like a wormy one. You want to kind of fluff it out with your fingers. And after each layer, it might help if you just press everything down so that the fibers start to stick together. And like they're already sticking together. You can already see. Okay, now I'm going to put some blue on here. As you can see, I'm going to go the opposite way. And you'll notice the colors are starting to blend. Okay, and then I'm going to put one last little bit of this hot pink on there because I think that's going to help mix with some of the colors underneath it. And I'm just going to make sure that everything is kind of tucked in. You can just kind of push it over. You can fold it over if you want to. And then you're going to actually open the bag and set it in the bag. This might be tricky for some people, so what you can always do is you can fold it in half like a quesadilla. And then as you put it in the bag, then you can open it back up. Now, we don't really care if the fibers shift or if they go anywhere because you're just making a big space full of color. If I were doing this and I were trying to make a special design or a pattern on this, then I would be doing it a different way and not putting it inside a bag. The fun thing about felting in the bag is that you don't really know what's going to happen. It's going to be a mystery. So I'm going to put a little bit of my soap in there. You probably need about a teaspoon of soap. And you might need more later as we go. If you're an adult, obviously you can do this by yourself. If you're a child, please have some help to get your super, super, super hot water into your pot. Now I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. And I'm going to put it in the corner so that the felt doesn't drift or the fleece doesn't start to move around. So see how it's... Okay, so my goal is to get all of the fleece covered in the hot soapy water. And at first when you touch this, you're gonna be like, ouch, this is so hot. But as you get moving on the table, you're gonna start to see it. It's gonna feel colder and you're gonna see the fleece start to form. Now, you wanna make sure that there's no air. Okay, So you want no air, and you don't want any little fleece particles sticking out of your bag. Oh, and we gotta break in the seal. So you gotta make sure this is all sealed up. Now, the fleece, the water in here, any little bit of extra color that comes out is not gonna hurt you, but you're just gonna need to make sure that you wash whatever surface when you're done. So as you're felting, you can do a lot of things. You can just push with your hands. You can roll it up and squeeze it. You can even, if your bag is tight, you can even put it on the floor and step on it with your feet. I would have socks on to do that, but we're going to take a quick break and then I'll come back and show you how we finish this process. Alright, so I've been felting this for a while now. I've been massaging it with my hands, flipping it over back and forth, and then I even dumped out some of the water and changed it for more boiling water so that it can continue that action. What's happening is the soap is taking away some of the oil from the fleece, and the little scales on the hairs of the fleece want to attract and felt together. So the way that I know that this is done is if I open my bag, I'm going to open the bag and I'm going to look inside, and if the fleece still pulls apart, that means that it is not done. This is almost ready. It's like very close because I'm pulling on it and it's pulling apart a little bit but not a ton. So that means that you have about 5 more minutes of felting left to do. Once this is totally felted, we'll pull it out of the bag and dry it, and I'll show you how we're going to make our flower petals. Alright, so we're done felting our piece of felt. We took it out, we made sure that it's not going to pull apart easily on either of the sides. This one's a little stretchy still, but it's up to you. If you think it's done, it's probably done. If you want to look closely at it, you can see that different colors have blended and shown through the surface on this side and on this side because of the way that we arranged the fleece. If you want to make sure it's really, really dry, you can roll it up in a towel or in a paper towel like I'm going to do, and that's going to help to squeeze the excess water out of your felt. If you want to make sure it's really, really dry, you can always put it in the dryer on low, but don't put other things in there or else you're going to get multicolored fleece all over your clothes. So we got some water off of that. And I'm going to start to think about what shape I want my flower petals to be. Now what I want to do is I want to make multiple flower petals the same shape. So I'm going to fold my piece up into a big square. So I'm going to fold it twice. And then I kind of like the shapes that these things are making at the top. So I think I'm just going to cut a little bit of this off. And then make these the flower petals. And start to lay these out on the table and see how much I like them. And I think what I'm going to do is some are going to be on the blue side and some of them are going to be on the yellow side. Or maybe not. So the final step is that we're going to put your flower together. So I'm actually going to fold these in half and I'm going to sew them together. If you want to glue yours together, either using Elmer's glue or hot glue, you can. But I'm going to sew mine because I want to stay with my fiber arts theme that I'm doing. And so after I sew these together, then I'm going to put some things in the middle to make it look more like a flower. Alright, so as you can see, I finished my felt flower. I used all the little petals that I created, and then I added these other shapes that were the negative space when I cut the petals out in between, so it makes this cool looking flower. It has different colors on the front and on the back. Hopefully you'll have fun trying to make something like this or making it out of felt or fabric that you have at your home. So as a teacher, I bloom the most when I am able to spark the creativity in others and people like my students or just in other people that I meet. I think that it's my mission to help everyone to discover what they can do with the arts, and I love to share that with people. Thank you to the Canton Museum for sponsoring this project, and I hope to see all the thousands of flowers that all of you will make on the wall soon.